When is the last time you dated for fun with no 5-year plan attached? Even if you're ultimately looking for a relationship, there may be a season in your life where you just want to date casually and have a fling, or two, or as many as your heart desires. The dating app Fling is here for just that. Because let's face it, during a busy or transitional time, it can be hard to devote the energy to serious dating. Maybe you're a single parent, busy with other priorities, or you're fresh out of a relationship and want to ease back into dating again. Low pressure dating can actually be the healthiest option sometime. As long as you're safe and intentional, why not? Fling just isn't another dating app either. You have control over who you search for and who sees you. They allow you to share photos privately and even chat through video before meeting up. So if you're looking to explore some casual dating options, download the Fling app on the App Store or visit fling.me today. That's Fling, FLING.me, or you can find it under Fling Dating App in the App Store.
Your home is more than just furniture. It's an extension of who you are, and the details matter more than you think. Like a rug. The right rug can completely transform how a space feels. And that's why I'm obsessed with my Ruggable. I went with this warm, neutral, boho-inspired design for my living room with earthy tones and a fun pattern, and it instantly made the whole space feel more intentional. Like, oh, someone put some thought into this. And what sealed the deal for me is that it's completely machine washable. Like, my dog Mojo does not care about interior design, and neither does Red Wine, apparently. So I've thrown it in the wash, and it comes out looking brand new every time. It's built for real life. Refresh your home at Ruggable.com. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with promo code DATEABLE at Ruggable.com. That's RUGGABLE.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. For a long time, I thought you either had passion or you had stability in a relationship. But what I didn't realize is that they're not opposites you choose between. They're forces you have to actively balance. The problem is assuming the right relationship will hold both automatically instead of seeing it as something you continuously tend to. So the real question is, how do we keep both alive without letting one slowly replace the other? And that's what we're digging into today. Hi, I'm Yue.
And I'm Julie, and we're sharing what we learned the hard way so you don't have to.
Yay. This is the myth that we learned in our 20s, that love should have this exciting, passionate feeling to it. And then once you fall in love, that stability just comes naturally. Like you don't have to work at it. That's what love gives you.
I mean, I definitely was chasing excitement for sure. Like I remember just thinking like, of course, comparing relationships to like my parents, because that was the model I had, not comparing that they had been in a marriage for like 20 years at that point, right? So I'd like see them like sitting on the couch and like doing more domesticated things and being like, that seems boring as a 20-year-old. I want excitement. I want passion. I want to go out and do all the things. And I think I actively chased that and kind of like shunned stability for a really long time because I like consciously did not want to go down the path. I definitely did not realize that always having the excitement and ups and downs equated to, relationships that were not healthy and not stable. And you can have both. It doesn't need to be boring all the time for it to be a good, healthy, stable relationship.
See, I thought it was just a matter of order of things. First, you have excitement. And once you have excitement, then you have stability. Like you just naturally go into stability. And that's what we want in a relationship. And then the excitement comes back throughout the decades or something based on, I don't know, natural pheromones. I just didn't think you had to work at either one. But I always thought you had to start with excitement and passion first before you get into stability. So if something felt too stable in the beginning, it just didn't feel right. Like we're going out of order.
So you kind of bought into some of those myths of like, once you get married, everything kind of like goes to shit in the sense of the aliveness that comes with a relationship. And it's maybe more of that stereotype of, not having passion and not having intimacy.
I kind of just assumed this is like, I guess I didn't put a feeling of like, this is good or bad. It was just like, once you're in a long-term relationship, you're stable and that's the feeling that you want. But in the beginning, you must have that spark and excitement for you to get to that next chapter. But I think it was only later in the dating game where I learned, oh, there's this, this stereotype that once you've been in a relationship for a long time, it just gets boring and stale.
That's interesting. Because I do think like for you too, you've definitely stayed in relationships past dates that like maybe looking back, you're like, maybe I should have exited this earlier. And I wonder if some of it had to do with like, oh, this is natural. This is what is expected. Of course it's going to be like this now.
And it's almost like I felt like you had to choose one or the other. Because I used to want that excitement and passion. And then therefore you forego that feeling of stability and safety. And then when I went the whole, the opposite 180, I thought, okay, now I'm optimizing for stability. That's all I'm looking for. Forget excitement, passion. Yes. Who cares? Who cares if there's a spark or not? Let's just make sure it feels stable and safe.
I remember you saying that about the 2-year ex.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, like now I swung the other way because it was all that. And this is where it gets so hard because I think a lot of people, when it's stable at the beginning, they're like, this is boring, or they're overcorrecting like you did. And then the other side, like I've fallen into, are these like on again, off again, ups and downs, super dramatic and chemistry filled. And then like you don't hear from them for like a month, or they can't commit. Like they're not, ready to be in a relationship that's, serious or has stability. And that's like really detrimental and not healthy at all.
No, I think none of this is healthy. And I think that's why even after being in a relationship, we get so confused because I bought into this idea that after you've been in a long-term relationship, you should just accept that maybe there isn't much of passion or a spark, and that's the way it is. Like that's the norm. And then if you're in a situationship and you're feeling that spark and excitement, that's the way it is. Like I never felt like I had agency over changing these situations. It's like these are the scenarios you put yourself in.
Yeah, I would say my current partnership is probably like the best balance I've had for sure. Admittedly, though, there was more passion at the beginning. I think some of that does kind of like wear. Not that there's zero now. I don't mean that. But like, it definitely was like more when something's new and novel. I think that's to be expected to some degree. And you actually kind of have to like put in the work to bring that back. Like, for instance, we would, on date nights, like we'd have those more when we were not living together, and we would like go out more and all this stuff. And now it's like we kind of have to like schedule like Wednesday date night, and this is a thing that we're doing. And I think it's because like, logistics and other parts of life come in, like stress from work and all the things, and you get comfortable. I mean, that is a piece of it. You get comfortable with someone. And I think if you're not conscious about building, I can see how couples fall into this feeling like roommate situation, and it feels very transactional because it's easy to go there if you're not like giving it that attention.
I think the passion at the beginning of the relationship is so misunderstood because when you put so much value on that beginning passion, you think that it's like fate, like, oh, we're fated to be together and we're so compatible. But the passion mostly is from not knowing each other. So you're getting to know each other.
Right.
And I remember when I moved in with my 2 exes ago, right? When I moved in with him, and I felt like there was so much passion. I wanted him all the time. And after we moved in, I think I was like, oh, this is how he is at breakfast, or like, this is how he eats his cereal. And I used to romanticize his mornings because those are the times I didn't see him. So I'm like, oh, he's probably like working out or like talking to people, or he's like meditating. I don't know. I just romanticized his life without me. And when we moved in together, I was like, oh, we just basically do the same thing, eat the same thing. It's not that interesting. So I do think in these long-term relationships, the goal is to keep getting to know each other and finding new things to learn about each other, because that's where the passion comes from.
Yeah. No, I think it's like couples don't stop loving each other, but it's like you haven't really named what's changing. Like you're like, all of a sudden we're living together. All of a sudden we're thrown into it. But the effect of that kind of just get slipped under the rug. Like, it's not like, oh, our relationship is different now because of this, unless you're very conscious in your relationship. And it kind of reminds me, like, have you seen this trailer for the new A24 movie? It actually like takes place at SF, and it's called
Which
The
one?
Invite, the one with Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde. Have you seen this
yes.
trailer?
Yes. Olivia. Oh, I thought that was an interesting pairing, Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde. Yes, I think I remember seeing this from an Instagram post, and they were filming it a while back. And I remember thinking, like, are they playing a couple? That's an interesting couple.
This whole convo, though, is reminding me of like the premise of that movie, because it's basically like the balance of stability and passion. And, you know, Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde's characters have this like stable, predictable, and what appears to be from the previews like passionless marriage. And then they invite over their neighbors, who are played by Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton's characters, who are kind of like the other side of the spectrum, where they have the spark and chemistry, but maybe not the emotional safety.
And I kind of felt like, from watching the trailer, that they were getting proposition for a foursome. Did you read that too?
It appears that way. I guess we're going to have to wait and see, but I'm definitely intrigued by the previews, and I want to see it because it actually comes out on my birthday weekend. So July 10th, it comes out to theaters. So I'm definitely going to go see it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go see it too. My friend was like, do you want to go see this together? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I love these A24 movies. And this one felt really relevant to us. I actually thought about you because it's all about relationships and the nuances of these relationships. And then it makes you wonder if this proposition is going to make or break their relationship.
And you know what else, actually? I read that Olivia Wilde, who directed the movie, by the way, she consulted Esther Perel to address the nuances of long-term relationships.
Then you know this is going to be a good relationship movie. Hello. If you have Esther Perel involved. See, I've definitely been in relationships where I feel like I didn't say what I wanted to say because I didn't want to rock the boat. But then that was ultimately the downfall of the relationship. So I'm really curious to see how this movie pans out.
That's the balance of security and passion, because, you know, I think the desire doesn't disappear, but it does go unspoken if you're not talking about it. And I wish I knew that they're not opposites, but they're something that needs recalibration.
Yeah, just like our computers, we need to constantly update the software and the operating system. I think in relationships, you kind of have to do the same because we're constantly changing and the relationship dynamic is constantly changing. But in the beginning of that relationship, it's kind of like on default mode because you can just let the passion and the newness of it make your relationship work. But after a while, you too have to be the one restarting the machine.
I think that's a good parallel, the reboot, because I'm curious too, like is it rebooting with your partner or rebooting your expectations? Because I think something that I've talked to friends about before is like maybe the expectation that your like life partner isn't going to be like the best sex you ever had. And like, that's okay.
That's a choice. I think that's an intentional choice because maybe there's some things that you prioritize over the other. I still think it's worth doing the reboot with your partner. It's more just an intentionality check-in. Like your example for me is like we moved in. Let's now recalibrate what it means now that we've moved in together. And so many of my relationships, you just fall into that next situation. So I feel like that's a great opportunity for a reboot. The sex thing is a very sensitive topic for many. But I do think like, okay, you could say, I don't need to be having the best sex of my life. And if you truly feel that way, then you can recalibrate your expectations. But if you're like, actually, I think there's an opportunity here. I think we could get there. Then it's worth having that conversation with your partner. And then there are plenty of things people can do and explore to get to better sex.
So I don't think it's like saying like, I'm not going to have good sex with my long-term partner. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I do think maybe it's like kind of pulling back the layers of like what made the sex so exciting with these people where there wasn't the stability. It's like, I've thought about that before. It's like, first of all, you don't know when it's going to happen again. That alone is going to make something more exciting. Maybe it's not as frequent because like you're not in a partnership. And also like, you don't know the person as well. Like there's a lot of these factors that really like don't actually have to do with your partner and your sex life at all. And it's like just perceived excitement. Maybe like there is a part of expectation setting that like that is different, right? First and foremost. But I also think though too, like thinking, I don't know, I feel like thinking back, like most of the people where like the sex was amazing, usually they weren't the best partners, like across the board. So I think it's like, again, not settling for bad sex, but like, is that the number one priority in a long-term relationship that's going to span decades?
And maybe kind of what you're also alluding to is redefining what good sex is. Maybe in our memory, those were the most amazing times of sex we've ever had. But if you had that sex again today, maybe it wouldn't be that amazing. So it's kind of rethinking like, okay, I need to figure out what good sex to me means. And maybe it's not surprise, unpredictable sex. It's like predictable, safe, desirable, I feel desirable and sexy kind of sex. That's the recalibration of expectations. I have I wouldn't say they're friends. Friends who they're a married couple and they're not having the best time right now in their 20-year marriage where she's going through some hormonal changes. She doesn't want to have sex at all. And he is hornier than ever and he wants to have sex. And I guess when they've had these conversations, she's saying, I don't have a desire to have sex and I don't want you to have sex with anybody else. So that's the way it is. But he's like, but if you're not willing to have sex with me, can I get it elsewhere? She's like, yeah, no. So that is like, I feel like two people are not talking, they're not collaborating together and the recalibration is not intentional and it's asynchronous. So they're definitely not on the same page. And that's like so tough because there's no path forward from something like that.
Yeah, that I think is like a whole other bag outside of just like, are you having like the most passionate sex of your life? I agree. Like that is a situation where it feels like they're not talking and they're not like on the same page at all. I want to go into this more because I think it's very interesting. But before we do, let's take a minute to hear from our sponsors.
Are you in the market for a new mattress? Well, Avocado Green Mattress is truly the answer for you. Their certified organic mattresses sleep cool, relieve pressure, and support your body so you can enjoy deep, restorative sleep. Every Avocado mattress uses healthy, natural materials, and they're even handmade. What really got me was being able to go in and feel it for myself. You can actually walk into one of their 14 plus showrooms or partner locations to test it out. And trust me, once you lie down on one, you'll just know. And you'll also feel good knowing that your bed is made from real certified organic materials like cotton and wool, which provide that perfect blend of breathability, support, and durability. And remember, you can experience them in person at an Avocado showroom or a premier retailer near you, or shop online at avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable to check out their mattress and furniture sale. That's avocadogreenmattress.com/DATEABLE. avocadogreenmattress.com/dateable.
If you're someone whose book talk algorithm is basically just dark romance recommendations, I have one for you. Losers Part 1 and Part 2 by New York Times bestselling author Harley LaRue. I love this book because it transported me back to high school. It's a dark romance that starts with a former queen bee reconnecting with the 4 guys she used to bully in high school. What begins as revenge turns into something way deeper. Found family, healing, queer representation, kink exploration, and honestly some of the most emotionally layered relationships I've ever read in this genre. It was such a page turner, I could not put it down. The relationships between all the characters are what made the story so addictive. And if you're a physical book collector, the new deluxe editions are gorgeous. They have stenciled edges, exclusive fan art, and the foil covers connect to create one complete set. You can find Losers Part 1 and 2 by Harley LaRue wherever books are sold in print and in ebook. So I feel like in situations where resentment builds, this is the problem with long-term relationships, or when one person's needs aren't getting met, like the situation you just gave, like one person's need is blatantly not getting met in that. If they don't honestly talk and come to an agreement that works for both of them, like resentment is just going to skyrocket in that.
Mhm.
And there's no way that, I mean, at that point, you don't have passion or stability. You've kind of lost both when the resentment is so high. Like something that maybe went from stable has now just been destabilized.
Yeah, exactly. And what you were talking about earlier too, like a lot of times it's not about the thing you're fighting about. Like in this situation, it's not really about the sex. It's that they're not communicating on the same page and giving each other the same level of respect. And I do think when it comes to this discussion of excitement versus stability, it's like, end of the day, it's really not about either one of those. It's like two people not willing to talk in the same language and to be on the same page.
Right. Maybe like sex is not the barometer too, because I think that's where we get into trouble, is that we're always thinking like that sex equals passion. And to have passion in a relationship, it can be other things. Like you can just be curious about each other. You can do exciting activities together. I'm not saying there's no sex here, but like it's not the only thing. I think sometimes in these like pure passion relationships, sex is the only thing. And maybe that's something to ask yourself too, is like, is there good sex, good connection, good intimacy, but then other stuff where maybe in the past, when you're looking back at past relationships or you're not sure if you should proceed with this, there was only sex. There was none of the other stuff because the stability wasn't there for it to grow.
Yeah. And then somehow we equate stability to like the end of the road. Like you've reached the peak of your relationship. Yes. And there's no real future of it being anything but stable. So you just have to accept it. Neither one of those is the end of the road. A relationship can evolve forever.
I think the word stability needs a rebrand too, because I do think when you hear stability, you think of like just that person that's going to be there and they don't have a voice, they don't have a mind, they don't have needs of their own, they've got nothing. But I think really when I think of stability now, it's like emotional safety to like be myself, to say what I want, to do what I want, to act in a way that's authentic to me. And that is a necessity in a relationship. So like the stability has to be there. If you're always worried if this person's going to like bounce or ghost you or not be around, like you can't have that emotional safety. It just doesn't work. So I think it's more of this rebrand again for what stability means. I think reliability, consistency, all that can be really sexy if you look at it in that way. It doesn't have to be like, oh, they have nothing going on, so they're there. It could be like, actually, you're a priority, and that's why they're making it a priority.
Yeah. Well, like in this movie, so question for you is, do you think there could be enough emotional stability and safety in a relationship for the other partner to voice some of their fantasies? Like, I feel like in this movie, Seth Rogen's about to tell Olivia Wilde that he's been fantasizing about other people, or he's interested in seeing other people. I don't know. That's how I read it.
I did not get that vibe at all. Okay.
I felt like when he was being propositioned, I thought this was going to be like opening Pandora's box for him. Like, I have these fantasies, and now I can be unleashed. And she's like, what? I had no idea.
I got the opposite read when I saw this trailer. I literally thought it was going to be her that was like down. But anyways.
Maybe.
Either one. Whoever it is. Whatever. I see what you're saying. Either one. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like, is there ever going to be enough emotional safety in a relationship for two people to have a conversation like that? Theoretically, I want to say yes. But in practice, I find that really hard.
Oh, it's definitely hard. I think like if you're not on the same page with it, like if you're like, I don't know, if you're getting propositioned for a foursome and like you're not down and your partner is, like that's going to be really hard to navigate. But even if you're not, I think that like there's a difference between safety, like the ability to say it, but that can't necessarily, I don't know, predict the outcome of when you do say it.
Right.
Like at least what I would say, at least if this was me, it would be like, well, I'm not going to fault them for saying what they want, but I also have my own needs and what I'm comfortable with.
Right. And then you would want to voice those needs. right?
Yeah. And then at what point is there a compromise versus like we're just not compatible?
Right, right. And that could very well happen in a long-term relationship, that two people just kind of grow apart with their preferences and needs. But it could also be an opportunity to get closer. You just don't know till you ask or bring it up.
So I feel like most of the scenarios we hear are like people just repressing on both sides.
Yeah.
And maybe that leads to infidelity, or maybe that leads to just like a roommate situation. So I think if that's the outcome, voicing it is better to not to like be open. I mean, I think the other piece too is it's so easy when you've been with someone for a while to just assume you know everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not curious. You're not asking questions, whether that be about fantasies sexually or just in general about their daily life. It doesn't even have to be to that extreme. And I think that's the stuff that builds attraction and chemistry like you did when you were first dating.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to remember to bring that back. And that's kind of like what we were talking about at the top of all this is like they ebb and flow like stability and passion. Like we have to figure out systems to like have them both be at play, whether that's like years into a relationship or even at the beginning of a relationship. When you first meet someone, it maybe doesn't need to be like fireworks from day one, but there has to be some passion there. And there has to be like, it can't be like, oh, catch you in a month. Like there needs to be stability there too. So I hear people being like, oh, well, that feels like a rare person out there. And it does exist, but it does take work from you and from them to like be that for each other.
Yeah. And it's not about the person. It's not about the person relationship that you're creating together. And you can almost see from our conversation that passion feeds into stability and then stability feeds into passion. So it's circular. And if one thing is a little off, then it does also affect the other thing. For me, it's like I need stability to feel passion because then I feel safe to explore the passion. But then once I feel passion for someone, I crave the stability. I want, the consistency and the trust. So if we can't have one go off balance, and maybe that's where the conversation is in a relationship, is how's our stability versus passion meter going?
Yeah.
How's that going right now?
Yeah. And I think like, I'm glad you said this because this is the advice I would tell my younger self too, is when you're looking at your relationship history or dating history and you're seeing that you're falling into one or two camps, that could actually say a lot more about yourself and the place you're in than the people even. Like I know for me, when I really valued, passion above all else, that chemistry was number one. Like I didn't even have like a list of things I was looking for. It was just like, do I feel it with someone? Yes or no? And looking back, I don't know if I really was in the place to like build a long-term relationship. I thought I was. I liked the idea of it, but I'm not sure if I really was emotionally and mentally mature enough to do that.
Yes.
And I think the last time around when I was dating, I did put qualities of stability at the forefront, like consistency and stuff like that. And again, I wasn't saying like I don't want passion. Obviously, I was very attracted to my partner, still am. And that was important to me. But I think I also saw it in places. Like I think one of the areas that really drew me to him and still does is the fact that we can just talk about anything and like don't run out of things to talk about and kind of stay intellectually curious. And that does, feed into passion. I think I was able to look at other areas when I was more ready, is what I'm trying to say in a long roundabout way.
No, I hear that. The major clue for anybody right now is, do you feel like you're constantly defending this person by making excuses for them in one direction or another?
Yeah.
I remember I used to say like, but the sex is so good, or we're so attracted to each other, after not hearing from them for a few days, or my friends being like, you should just dump him. I'm like, but the sex is so good, or I've never felt this sort of passion before. Or you can swing the other way and be like, oh, but he's so stable, or he's so consistent with his communication. We see each other all the time, or whatever. You make excuses for something that's lacking. That's probably where you're overcorrecting. if you have to make excuses and defend this person in any which way, it's already a red flag that there is something majorly off in this relationship.
Yeah. And I think the last takeaway I have is, again, kind of what we started with, is not treating them like two ends of the spectrum, which we often do, but more like how can they coexist together?
Yes. Juggle both of them. Oh, great. Now we know. We feel more balanced between passion and stability.
How else do you make it years and years into a relationship? I feel like that, like thinking about that is so crazy when you think about it, because when you're on like first date, you're not thinking about years down the line. You need that balance.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe this movie will give us the answer. But we'll have more answers for y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.